having our concerns addressed. But also we should not pull out and keep quiet. The pulling out should be a message that we are not satisfied with A, B, C, D, and this is how we want it to be. And I think we should have a much stronger negotiation. The fact that we produce the best coffee in terms of its quality, all right? So those are things that we have to look at. And I think for strategic reasons, Uganda should continue having that engagement so we can find a way to navigate through. But the bigger part of it, the bigger goal should be how do we do much more? Because, Charles, that's really where I want to spend a lot of energy talking. This country is so much blessed that we have 2 seasons, 2 rain seasons. We have the most fertile soil almost on earth. We can do so much more. But to this day, Uganda is only exporting about 6.5 million bucks. We can do far better than Vietnam. Because to the best of my knowledge, I think we started much earlier than Vietnam. So why are we still exporting only 6.5 million bucks when we started much earlier than a country like Vietnam that is currently exporting close to 35 million bucks? We are still earning about $650 million compared to countries that are earning billions and billion dollars. When we have, and so internally, how much are we doing? And I want to, Doctor, this I can share with you frankly. And some of these things you, our technical people, fear talking about. Because sometimes the politicians or the people who take decisions over what you do, sometimes are so unfair to the extent that we don't want to hear. We don't want to, the problem in this country is that many of us want to listen to the things we want to hear. And that's where we fail the technical people. Recently, we were having our committee meeting. I belong to
local government?
The Committee on Agriculture. And Doctor and the team came and during the budget framework paper. And then you see where coffee has been placed. And you wonder whether really we know what we want.
Where has it been placed?
Actually, for next financial year, priority is being given to crops like macadamia. All right?
Which one?
Macadamia.
Which one is that?
Which one?
Macadamia. Okay, well, I'm happy you are saying which one is that. You can, all right?
Even I also don't know macadamia.
Macadamia is a big tree, can grow up to 20 meters, can cover about 10 square meters, and lives between 30 to 40 years. And so there are people who are pushing and say, look, macadamia can do much better, can turn around the story. And I'm a farmer, just like you are. I'm both a farmer and a consumer. And but you see, my disappointment is that in this country, looks like we start a journey. And midway we say, no, let's go back and start again. Because where we have reached in terms of making coffee do much more, I think if we are able to spend a little more energy and put more resources, the country can do much better. But then the focus is moving away from coffee, and we're saying next financial year we have to put so much billion on macadamia, something completely new.
Who is growing that?
And there is only one supplier in this country who is going to supply the seedlings, and it's also not a Ugandan.
First tell us more about macadamia.
Well, you'll have to pay me for.
No, you are our representative.
I would actually be interested in knowing how did the committee resolve.
Yes,
because exactly. That's more important.
Yeah, the discussion is still on. Okay. And I'm sure Doctor is coming back before us because we need to have serious.
Who is going to supply the seedlings?
Well, we will talk about that.
People would want to know because
there is, by the way, I raised the same concern during our committee meeting. And I raised it to the minister and said, look, there is a company, I think they should be around Mitiana. a company in Mitiana, they are supposed to raise the seedlings. And I said, look, you know, if we want to succeed in certain things, we need to plan well, empower the citizens. So, but that is okay. Leave alone macadamia. Are we going to allow such things to replace coffee, which is actually almost the second, you know, earner?
It's not almost.
All right?
It is.
Actually, it's the
It's
second.
leading, isn't it?
No,
Probably it's leading. We get so much money from coffee, and we are beginning to pull out our attention, including how to provide the resources needed. I think that's where we go wrong. And I'll tell you, I've been part of a team that is trying to popularize coffee in northern Uganda.
I thought you were going to say that he's
Macadamia.
trying to popularize macadamia.
No, let me, you know this macadamia thing. I hear some people trying, they're saying, you know, this thing can earn so much money, within 3 years you can. Let me tell you, macadamia, the first fruiting, between 5 to 6 years, will give you something so little that it's difficult to talk about. You can begin to get a lot more harvest from it after about 10 years. And then there are some people trying to popularize that simply because it looks like there are people who have strategically positioned themselves and they know very quickly they're going to cut, get whatever they want, and then after about 2-3 years they are coming with a different crop. So in this country, almost after every 3 years, there is a new crop that somebody is trying to popularize. And we keep on leaving the midway. I think that's not fair.
Okay, we will come back to macadamia, but let me, Sarah, your thoughts. I just want to, before you come in though, Sarah, if you want to join the discussion with a message or you want to ask a question, this is an important discussion for you out there, especially those who are interested in coffee business and in the discussions about the economy, about socio-economic transformation. You cannot miss this discussion. To join, we are streaming live via YouTube, UBC Television Uganda on YouTube, via our hashtag, hashtag UBC in caps, UBC in caps, then behind the headlines. That's on Twitter. But you can also send your question or comment via 0709 602592. If you want to send your message via telephone number, you can use 0709 602592. Sarah, I need you to come in at this point. Mapinduzi has kicked in another issue, but keeping with the coffee and its potential, but picking it from the withdrawal from the association, which helps in marketing and all that. What is your view? What should we be doing? What can win this country better profits out of our coffee?
Charles, before she comes in, can we correct you that ICO has no marketing role?
It has no marketing role.
No.
Thank you very much.
It is neither a regulator nor a marketing.
Yeah. Okay.
And two,
no value addition.
no value
either.
addition.
It's a club.
At a club.
You
Two, you see, coffee, by the way, let me tell you, in Uganda, we have Arabic one space, Robusta one space. In Ethiopia, they have over 10,000 species of Arabic. So our coffee is the best. The only thing is that the government is not coming up to assist in the marketing only. If the government really invested in marketing, we're good to go.
Okay.
By the way, there would be no need of macadamia, because if I give you a report here, because there's just a minute so that we can make facts clear. Before we see, I have seen you have categorized them as old trees and new trees. Early on, of course, there were institutions which were growing coffee. That one you say Bujisu, Buganda, that's the central, Kigezi somehow. Langu is coming in, Sebei, West Nile, Western Uganda, but The old trees are still the biggest in quantity. The new trees which have been added are few. Of course, I don't know how they are very few, but these are this. But what I wanted to put across is that to grow coffee and make it better, if Macedonia is somewhere, let them put it somewhere, try it in a certain place. We see the dividends like they did to vanilla, then you go there. But what you have, even there is what we call a cooperative advantage.
Yes.
You cannot bring things for the sake. Uganda is no longer for trial. If there's a private sector, let them try their macadonias. What?
Macadamia.
Then they do whatever. Let us
Macadamia.
continue
You
with
also
what
don't know
we
the
have an
macadamia
advantage.
tree.
It will be Madonna.
I think there's a mistake in this country.
Maradona.
Yeah, before
Let me-
Sarah
let me
comes
first
in,
bring in
just to clarify something.
Yeah.
Just to
Nandera
clarify
might
something.
mislead you.
You
The government has the coffee roadmap targeting 20 million bags, and the government is looking at replanting and coffee rehabilitation.
just to
Of
clarify
course, we can
something
do more,
before-
but let him not show that the government is not doing anything in the coffee sector.
let me clarify something
now,
before
that
Madam
is
Sarah
an
comes in.
important, an important direction you are taking us into. I'm going to come, after Sarah, I will come back to you,
Just clarification.
Doctor, to get that. I want it more elaborately.
Just clarification.
What plans
yeah.
you have?
Well, Charles, I wanted to clarify something. I am not against macadamia, and I want to state it very clearly. But my point is that, as a country, once we have discovered that this particular enterprise can turn around the story, and we have evidence, we need to invest more in that. We don't need to change all of a sudden and lose focus. Number two, I have given an example, just like Honorable Nandal has put it. I have had parts of the country being mentioned. Actually, if this country, Doctor, if you want to see an increase, and if there is any part of the country that you need to pay a lot of attention to, it's northern Uganda. Because we have got so much land. Actually, our household land usage stands at about 7 acres. Average, land holding at household level stands at about 7 acres. But the statistics are that we are only using about 30%.
Okay.
So you have an opportunity. Let me give you the example of.
No, first, I need Sarah first.
I
and
wanted
then-
to clarify on this. She will come in.
No, please.
Yes,
You
yes.
people, I am the honor woman
I
and the
want-
men are bulldozing my space. It's not acceptable, really. You will have your time.
I apologize. Please go ahead. but I wanted to clarify.
No.
This is the typical, they say, she has taken the bulls by the horns.
Yeah. And we have to respect her anyway. Please go
Not
ahead.
only the horn, the tails as well. She has one.
Well, my view, Charles, I have heard comments from farmers. There have been letters about the pullout of the International Coffee Organization. And the Katikiro has expressed almost similar sentiments expressed by several coffee farmers in the media since the announcement of the pullout by Uganda. So I think there is a need for open consultations of key stakeholders, because already what you see is one view by the UDCA head, and of course Honorable Nandara, who is a big player in the sector, but there is also another view. So how do you harmonize these views, these concerns in the sector that you lead, and not imposing your own views on the stakeholders? I think to me that is one major concern. The second concern, I don't really know much about the International Coffee Organization, but when you check just a quick view on what they stand for, what they do, established under the auspices of the UN, they are an intergovernmental organization for coffee, bringing together importing and exporting governments to tackle the challenges facing the world coffee sector through international cooperation. Its quick membership as of November 2019 is 43 exporting members and 6 importing members. in their own mission, they summarize it as a member governments represent 98% of the world coffee production and 67% of world consumption. So I think that as a platform, I mean, it's an intergovernmental agency. We have many intergovernmental agencies where if you wanted, you can write them off. I will not mention some of them. But there are also, there is always a silver lining. If you are saying you need to engage with people directly who consume coffee, isn't this a platform where you can do your bilateral engagements, for example? Is everything all lost in as far as engaging with other key players in the sector? What do you do when you're there? Can't you do your side meetings? Can't you do your side engagements? If the key players are in one place, doesn't it save you costs of visiting one country in a continent, visiting another country in a continent, to talk about the same thing when you can meet and engage with these people at this platform? So I think what we need to hear is this completely a useless organization or belonging? It seeks to promote part of the SDGs as a UN agency, of course, and also an
Let me
integral...
correct you there, because we seem to be going a bit...
No, you will come in later. I think let's have organized debate. You can note your concerns. So if this is what it stands for, in a press release issued by the ICO on 22nd February this year, they mentioned that Uganda raised 7 concerns. And later, these are, I assume this is the basis for their withdrawal. According to this press release, 3 of the concerns were outside, had no linkage with the agreement. And 4 of the concerns, they asked Uganda to propose, because they are renegotiating a new agreement for their extension. They asked Uganda for proposals, and according to that press release, the proposals never came through. So part of the issues that Uganda raised, which are very fundamental in my view, they include barriers to trade through tariffs, and how the process or the framework, how disadvantaged the coffee producing countries were, issues of promotion of value addition, change in coffee prices. And the other 4th issue, which I thought is very important, is the clarification of coffee, where the agency seems to front Brazilian and Colombian coffee and then classifies other types of coffee among others, which I think really is very bad for such an agency. And it disadvantages countries like Uganda, where we have our good Arabica coffee or Robusta coffee, and then you're highlighting other major types, and then ours comes among others. That's what I've picked from the press statement. But you know more details than I do. But I've also seen letters in the media, including concerns by Kabusheng and others, people who are engaged in large-scale coffee farming in this country. So I think at the national level, we need to harmonize, get concerns of all stakeholders, and make sure as a sector you are on the same page, either to keep engaging or to withdraw, but in a harmonized manner at a national level, because that is lacking, obviously. Then at the second level is to say, is this agency completely useless? What are the other advantages of cooperating and engaging with other producers and exporters of coffee? Is it a completely lost cause? And what is the evidence if we should really write it off as a country? So to me, I think those are my quick concerns on that. But when you go back to the general coffee production in the country, of course, as children, we are taught coffee is the leading exporter of Uganda until recently when gold overtook, and I don't know who are the processors of gold that have really caused it. Because according to the UBOS 2021 statistical...
I don't know where the gold is coming from.
You should just be happy it is coming.
but I should know where it's coming from.
But according to
Unless it's
the
just crossing
to
through.
the reports, it is passing through maybe. I don't know. But that is according to the UBOS 2021 statistical abstract. The performance of our formal commodities in terms of external trade, we have gold standing at 35.3%, and the next is coffee at 12.4% of total earnings in 2021, followed by fish. So if you go by that, and even considering that agriculture employs according to that report, 68.1% in terms of, yes, formal employment, and then the contributions to household level, and the focus of NDP3, which is about increasing household incomes and improving the quality of life of the people, of Ugandans. Coffee is still our highest cash crop as a country. And in 2018, so if you go to the export statistics, there was a 15% increase in the volume of coffee, and it contributes a lot in macroeconomic stability. So, but what are we doing at the national level, away from this agency, which I think that it is good, even for networking, and you can go there and do your bilateral engagements, assuming that the agency is completely useless. What are we doing at the national level to benefit a farmer?
Okay.
Because if you look at the cup of coffee, we are glad the Honorable Nandala has given us very good gifts. A farmer at stage 1 of growing coffee, a farmer makes about $0.07.
Can you
Quickly,
pause that?
let me summarize. The gentleman had a lot of time, really.
No, I don't want
Let
to
me
bring them.
conclude. Let me conclude this point. They come in on that, because I think that this is the interest of a citizen that is out there viewing this platform. At stage 1, a farmer gets about $0.07. Stage 2, if you export from the farm, you earn an additional $0.16. If you are able to roast, an additional $0.35. If you distribute, an additional $0.04. If you are able to do retail, there is more money. You earn about $2, $2.17. But if you are able to reach at the time where we power in the cup and drink, then there is an additional $2.8. So a farmer who sells from the garden earns 0.07, but a farmer who is able to put coffee in our cups earns a total of $5.59. How do we help our farmers to move from earning 0.07, $5.59? I think that's what the discussion that we should be having.
Okay, thank you very much, Sarah. I need us to take a break right now. When we come back, we are going to engage the viewer out there with their questions and comments more as they join the discussion here. The discussion is about coffee, why Uganda pulled out of ICO. Is it more useful to be out of it, give conditions for return, or is it better that the country is out of it, no wastage of resources? As some of the members have said, especially Honorable Nandala, that this organization is not so useful to the farmers of coffee in Uganda. But we will be looking at the potential for coffee to the national economy. Let's break now, and we will be right back.
MBs are now bigger MBs only on MTN. When you load a daily band of 250 shillings, you no longer get 15 MBs, you get 30 MBs. For 500 shillings, you no longer get 40 MBs, you get 80 MBs. For 1,000 shillings, it's no longer 100 MBs, it's 180 MBs. Dial *150 *10 hash or use the My MTN app to load bigger daily bundles only on MTN. MTN is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Raising voices, As a community member, I think we need to change in the way we act in response to violence against children. In my small way, I can be a leader in preventing violence in my community. I promise to work with my neighbors to create violence-free homes and communities for our children.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
Double MBs. For the same price on daily bundles with Airtel, now you get double MBs for twice your enjoyment. For 250 shillings, you now get double. That's 30 MBs. For only 500 shillings, you get 80 MBs. And for 1,000 Uganda shillings, enjoy 180 MBs. All valid for 24 hours. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to enjoy double MBs on your daily bundles for the exact same price. With Airtel, the smartphone network.
Government of Uganda, through the Uganda Bureau of Statistics (UBOS), is undertaking nationwide census mapping aimed at providing an up-to-date list of enumeration areas and administrative units in the country ahead of the National Population and Housing Census of 2023. The UBOS field teams will be using Global Positioning Systems (GPS) for mapping all administrative infrastructure, households and other facilities such as hotels, schools, hospitals and water sources to facilitate production of the updated LC1, parish, sub-county and district area maps showing all the physical features and social amenities. The census mapping will further aid development of a countrywide data for information systems as a pillar for effective implementation of the parish development model. This is to appeal to the entire government leadership, all stakeholders and the general public to support the field teams that will be deployed across the country. Announced by Dr. Chris Ndatira Muchiza, the Executive Director and Chief Statistician. For further clarifications, please contact the Office of the Executive Director on 0755 342 128.
MBs are now bigger MBs only on MTN. When you load a daily band of 250 shillings, you no longer get 15 MBs, you get 30 MBs. For 500 shillings, you no longer get 40 MBs, you get 80 MBs. For 1,000 shillings, it's no longer 100 MBs, it's 180 MBs. Dial *150*10# or use the My MTN app to load bigger daily bundles only on MTN.
MTN is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Total Energies has undertaken a number of initiatives aimed at ensuring that Ugandan entities and citizens are adequately equipped to participate in the oil and gas sector.
We have currently secured contracts with Total Energies and Mark Demott in excess of $3.5 million. Total Energies has assisted us in our capacity building in the bidding process, understanding the national content requirement through various workshops that we have participated in, and also connecting us to potential contractors. So Total provided training, specifically VPSHR, for all our staff who are currently working in the project, and they have also built capacity of our in-house trainers.
Total Energies EP Uganda is committed to the empowerment of Ugandans to take an active part in the overall development of the oil project in Uganda.
You know, you could just buy a new smartphone from anywhere in Uganda. Dial *175*94# to activate their 100% double data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles for 3 months. Better yet, you automatically receive free 1 GB valid for 30 days. You are hooked already, aren't you? Enjoy 100% double data bonus from Airtel. Buy a smartphone from anywhere in Uganda and insert an Airtel SIM card. Dial *175*94# to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Dial *175# and select your preferred bundle to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back on air. This is Behind the Headlines this Wednesday, the 2nd of March 2022. The discussion is about coffee, why Uganda has pulled out of the International Coffee Organization or Association, whatever it is, a talking shop or you know, a shop for serious discussions is the question that we should be hearing here. But most importantly, what is the potential for coffee contribution to Uganda's economy? I have some questions that have come in. I need us to come back to them as well as we start this second segment. Someone called Geoffrey from Bugiri says, Charles, thanks for that important topic. In the first place, why did Uganda join ICO? And if ICO is that useless, as MD and Honorable Nandala Nathan want to indicate, then why have we been there all these years? This is someone called Geoffrey from Bugiri. Another one says, thanks for the good program. Why didn't Coffee Development Authority consult coffee stakeholders before withdrawing from ICO? I think that's very similar to the question that Councillor Sarah raised. Can the MD tell viewers the importance of coffee? No, he says the importance of hashtag 35 in coffee marketing. Then there is another question here. There is another question someone is asking. Let me see if I can get it out. Old coffee trees. Ask Honorable Nandala to expound more on this. Everyone up there is picking from trees planted by their grandparents. No one is planting new fields up there. And then there is another question that was asked earlier. I think I'll come back to the issue of the issue raised that once you put, you know, producers and consumers together, then you are going to have to contend with what you're running away from, a talking shop. But let's start looking at also at the potential as we move into the next segment, Doctor, into this new segment. One, a question has been asked by Honorable Mapenduzi that I need you to respond to alongside these other questions. We started earlier than Vietnam, and Vietnam is now almost 6 times ahead of us in production. While we are producing only about 6 million bags, they are running away with about 30+ million bags. Some of the statistics I got from last year, there is a question that someone sent me that Germany is getting about $3 billion from coffee earnings every year, and without a tree of coffee. Uganda has 220 million trees by now, or plus. 220+ million trees. Last year we got about 2.5 trillion, 2.5 was 2.6 trillion shillings from coffee earnings. What is the magic that Germany is doing that we are not doing or that we can't do?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think I will make a few corrections before I respond to that question directly. I didn't say ICO is completely useless. I said the way ICO initially was established, there were different interests, which has evolved over time. Yeah. And that's why what we are saying, we need to have more reforms. We want to see the transformation of ICO in a more structured, in a modern, efficient, and innovative dynamic institution, responding to the current challenges. Not to be static the time it was established, because that was the time of the quotas. There are no quotas anymore. So we are looking at issues of improvement in the governance and process management, business intelligence, trade negotiations, and promotion of domestic coffee consumption, on top of the issues we had raised as Uganda. And these are not issues of Uganda per se. These are general issues of producing countries. Having said that, ICO has a role in many ways it could play by bringing together both consumers and the producers, but we see more of the dominance of the private sector. Whereas this is an intergovernmental organization, you have now, they want to bring in NGOs, they want to bring in, there is already 3 forums of the private sector, and therefore the voice of the actual countries, the governments, is increasingly waning down. But Charles, I also want to bring to the attention of the viewers that Uganda is also a member of the Inter-Africa Coffee Organization. Inter-Africa Coffee Organization. Yeah. This is another intergovernmental organization based in Abidjan. It's headed by Ugandan. The Ugandan is actually succeeding another Ugandan, and they've done tremendous job. With the Inter-Africa Coffee Organization, we have 3 advantages, which we could build on by having membership of ICO to complement what they are doing. One, Inter-Africa Coffee Organization has a research component which could work with other national governments, both collaborating with the countries in Latin America, producing countries, get technologies within Africa and exchange at that base, which ICO is missing, which we would greatly benefit from. But also, Inter-Africa Coffee Organization is taking coffee to the African Union to be a priority commodity under the Department of Agriculture. That together will bring a strong voice as Africa in lobbying, but also investing in that space. And 3, Inter-Africa Coffee Organization has signed an MOU with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. So it's one of those commodities that actually can be traded with minimum tariffs. One of the issues we are talking about the ICO is, say, we have prohibitive tariffs when we export value-added coffee outside our continent. So we have seen Sudan is actually the second consumer of our coffee after import of our coffee after
Morocco?
No, after Italy. We see more coffee going to Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, which previously was actually coming from France and Italy. So even trade within is very, very key, but we are not closing the market, of course. EU is a big market for Uganda, and we should continue. Penetrate much deeper, but see how we can also export value-added coffee in that space. And this is where we are talking of ICO can come in those trade negotiations. What Nandala is actually saying, Bugisu, we are looking at specialty coffee. It's still a small space. We can widen, whereas we are talking of increasing production, should also be talking about increasing specialty coffee, because that's premium coffee that can attract even bigger markets. So I think the 2 organizations are important, but we need to see much more. And there is a lot of potential, and that's why Uganda has not completely crossed the space. But since 2017, we are saying there is no semblance of a single issue we have raised in the draft. So if we are staying for another 2 years, What are we negotiating when for 5 years there was no single issue we raised, which is in the draft? So, and I want you to take me on this. Many countries are following Uganda. We have been talking within East Africa. Ethiopia, we know the challenges there. Kenya is following. Guatemala, we have been having discussion together, and we want to move together.
Guatemala, I thought, has already withdrawn.
Yes, it has withdrawn. We are saying we can have bilateral, we can have international, and we don't have to go with every country, but we can together synergize and improve. But also have a common voice. Still there? Have a common voice at the African Union so that we really discuss as a bloc.
Is Vietnam still there?
Vietnam did a conditional withdrawal, like Uganda. It's a big market, and it's also a big producer. It's pushing to the same agenda as Uganda.
Okay. Yes. Honorable Nandala, some of those issues that were raised, you said that the organization is useless, and why didn't you push Doctor and the team to withdraw Uganda earlier?
Now let me first also start here with a disclaimer. I don't work for UCDA.
Yes.
Unfortunately, on this one I'm supporting them because it was overdue. I have raised my concern with UCDA on this issue quite long, because I have been saying, what is our benefit in ISO? Frankly, in 2009, I attended a meeting where you see there men and women who have just come, I think, for shopping and nothing more. That's number one. Number two, it can only be beneficial. By the way, let me tell you nowadays, business is cut at a political level. You remember AGOA? AGOA was at a political level. We only like how to deal with it. But even Uganda versus when we got Uganda-China coffee business deal, you know, there's a company which was formed. I don't know if it's still there.
We are now in the promotion.
Our argument was that China is 1.5 billion people. We need only 10% of it, which is 150 and a million. And if we promote coffee, by then now in Shanghai, coffee is really being drunk a lot under Beijing. Basically, again, I think we may have even erred ourselves as Uganda. In the initial stages, that coffee was picking up very fast. And we said if we took 10%, that's 150 million, times $10, if somebody took $1 of our coffee, that was 1.5 billion. Now, that one never needed ISO. It was at political level. And that one was a deal by the, you remember the person who broke it, who was in between? That's a Leto Pakaburo from the mountains. His interest, but they for us have been interested in such businesses. And but then we have, I can say we have not been helped. Now, yes, it is that one I must say it. Vietnam, being above Uganda. Again, we are making a mistake. And this way, again, I want to explain. I have data here. Now somebody asked of auditories. This is data from UCDA, the new trees you have planted over the period is 208 million.
That's an audit report, sir.
This is your report, but let me start from there. Why am I starting? Assuming this issue of the plant coffee, by 2020, we had said an average of 20 million trees per year.
It was supposed to be 300,000 trees per year.
But what to explain? Because why am I, but if it is 300, I will go again to your accounts. Why would you incur areas of coffee trees in a year of 141 billion, 121 billion? Because these are coffee farmers, nursery operators the money. It means then we bought air. Why am I saying? In fact, this one I've already said we bought air. Let us get the total amount of money we have spent in coffee seedlings. You will discover that if we had got all the money we have spent, we would have planted even Tamaka roads. We would have planted even this building, there would be no space. But because I think there was air and whatever, and this one, I am telling you, MD, take note of it. and even the government should get interested. How much have we spent in the coffee seedlings, and why haven't we got new seedlings? And that's why somebody asked me, new trees and old trees. The old trees, you are right, are those of our grandfathers which were picking from. But the new trees are the ones which government came up with the policy of the strategy of planting trees, and we have only planted 280 trees since 1986.
280 only?
280 million.
Let him not give you wrong statistics.
Sir,
we have planted 1.2 billion coffee trees.
No, yeah,
1.2 billion.
That report is for which year?
This is a report of 2019/2020.
Yes.
They have planted 208 million. Are you telling me that
that's not the? This is not a report from UCDA
about the Coffee Development Authority. I will share with you, Sarah.
Okay.
This, even if I don't know if I understand. You know me, I work with data. Even what I'm reading is this balance sheet. This is your balance sheet. Because I'm sure this is your signature.
Yes, that's correct.
So I'm working with your balance sheet to explain all that I'm saying.
And you chaired the PAC at some point.
Yes, but I never chaired the UCDS.
So I mean your salary.
No, I'm a chartered accountant.
Yeah, exactly. The point is, so your salary in numbers.
I'm a triple.
Your salary in numbers.
Yes, that one I can't go wrong. So, what I'm trying to say, the new trees were planted compared with vis-a-vis the money. We may Vietnam has beaten us because for them they went serious. I went to visit Vietnam. Every coin they mint it and they planted. By the 8 has even rocks if you have been there. They have put it on ridges and whatever. And it has been, the government policy is to ensure that we get the right product and the quality, which we're not doing here. And because of that, Vietnam has
But you remember the coffee law you recently passed is emphasizing on quality.
But why have you delayed? We have been fighting on that. So why I'm bringing all that? Vietnam has invested the money, it has got value. Uganda has invested the money, has got no value. And that's why they must be, I've seen Parliament talking of forensic audit, value for money audit. You had the Committee of Agriculture, my younger brother, Ojara Mapendez. I want to request you as a committee, raise up the issue. Let us do, before we appropriate more money for coffee production, how much have we spent and how many seeds are there? Then we compare and go and find out. The reason I'm raising that, on average a tree which is well maintained produces 3 kilograms. 3 kilograms of coffee. But it's between 3 up to 5 without fertilizers. Now, if we had put all the money we put on those trees were done, and you multiplied by 3 kilograms, I can assure there would be no country in the world who would beat Uganda in the coffee. And that's why I want us to do that analysis, because I'm using even your accounts to look at the areas you are accumulating are not for anything but for seedling nursery operators. Now, because we're still losing, in fact, if you look through the data which I've been reading, the old trees are more than the new trees. That means what was planted with our grandfather who used to do locally their own seedlings in the gardens and whatever and the plant, their trees are more than those where we have even now than nursery operators, which shows that we have done it maybe wrongly. And if we have done it rightly, it would be far better from there.
Okay.
The revenue from coffee would have been more, and I can assure you there's no way we can go wrong. Now, you have talked about this organization. We must carry out what we call cost-benefit analysis.
Yes.
What is the cost? The cost is that we go and sit there, waste time, people are paid per diem, and what are the results? We don't see anything. And we have said, this is not a regulator, this is not a marketing body. Now, if we want really to deal, and I'm happy that the MD is talking about Barreto agreements with what you said, Guatemala, whatever, I don't know. Guatemala. We want to involve the political heads, and we'll deal better. Do you know why gold is high here? It's because we have built a refinery in Entebbe. You are aware of the refinery. How the coffee enters here, we are not bothered. But if we went bother, you will discover that this coffee, that gold, is not from here. We are only doing refinery, getting money from refinery, and we are exporting it as Uganda. If we wanted really to drill down, who are the ones who are getting money from?
But why does it have a very low tax?
You know, this country is very interesting.
Because it's
one time with the milk industry had no tax.
It's saying because it's not from here.
Yeah.
So if you tax it, it will go elsewhere. So you want to attract it here.
Sorry, you have asked a good question.
Yeah, and they have given her
You have given here, and there are some institutions here which have no tax because they know they are the big beneficiaries, and those which are really, for example, we're talking about. If I gave you about fuel, it's about the VAT. If we government had wanted us to reduce the price of fuel, you don't need to say what is it. You reduce on tax. Yes. You remove 500 shillings a liter. Fuel will drop from 5,500 to 5,000, or from 4,500 to 4,000.
Okay.
Because of that. But what I wanted to conclude.
In 30 seconds.
Yes, right now, coffee. For us, let me give an example of just Sarah. It is between 12,700 to 13,000 shillings a kilo to a farmer. If you do that, it is not 0.6% dollars.
Okay.
Two, the problem we have, if we remove the middlemen, and we remove the middlemen, then we go to the roasters. You will get the price, because some of you have traveled. If you went to buy a cup of cappuccino, not a cappuccino,
yes,
it will be not less than $5. A cup. But 1 kilo can produce maybe 1,000 cups.
Yes.
So how much is the man making out of a kilo? So if the MD of UCDA, with the help of the president of this country, with the Minister of Finance, marketed and went and got the roasters, you don't need ISO to look for the roasters. By the way, in that meeting, if you went there, people know each other. It is a drinking club.
I think you are exaggerating. But let me remind you, Mr. Nandara, that government is doing a lot of marketing. We are now setting up an online platform where the youth even in Uganda can export their coffee without going to China or to any other country.
That's so good.
But maybe, Honorable, one thing, my estimation was on a cost of a cup of coffee, not on a kilo. A cup of coffee, what a farmer earns, and what the final person who has finished processing earns.
No, my sister, it's not $0.7 dollars per cup. That is too high.
Okay.
Because a kilo, if I'm giving you 12,000, that means those are about $4. You understand? Now $4. That is, if you divide how many cups, if they are assuming 100 cups only.
Okay, but at least we agree on the final price, a cup of cappuccino.
Yes, I'm pretty cappuccino. Now, if you go to espresso, espresso starts from $8 to 10. You know espresso, this tiny one. How many cups of espresso can we get from there? 500. So we are losing because I'm told this MD is telling me that they have opened online platform. It's a common. Kenya is beating us with the process of exports. They are beating us because for them they are determined. Even up to now they can come to Uganda by the are coming.
And by the way, Uganda is now a model country. Countries are all coming to learn from Uganda, including
But
Kenya.
I want to help you so that you know. Because me, I deal in coffee. Right now what they are doing, they go like to Akaka. Let me give an example of coffee. Because they cannot cross Kenya there direct. They fear crossing. They put the coffee in the trailers, come from Bahare, go up to Moroto, then go. You know, if you have been to Akaka, it's just a river. Because if you get there, there will be questioned. To show you that coffee is very good, which you are not maybe knowing very well. You come, you put a trailer, come to Mbare, go to Moroto, Karamoja, then you cross. It shows that government should really take interest in our product. And by the way, if you take interest, you will earn more money for this country than we're earning now. But I want to rest my case in this form. Bana MD of UCDA, it's good you have done, but we need you to do more.
I agree.
To do our coffee.
And that's our commitment.
And it will become the leading exporter in this country, and it will bring more forex.
Okay. Dr. Muhumuza, what do you think exactly is Uganda's potential of coffee to the national GDP?
It is sizable, as we have said, because it's the second largest source of foreign exchange. But we need to engage, because we've talked of potential.
Yeah.
Potential really means what can I pick besides the actual.
Yeah.
And looking at the numbers here, and I was privileged today, had a good chat with the people in the Bureau of Statistics and got their latest statistical abstract. We are praising ourselves, and thank you, Honorable, for raising some of these really issues that are undermining our potential. Because if you put in so much money, and then when you go down, say, where is the coffee? Our strategy is 20 million bags. Do we want to get it by increasing coffee trees?
By which year is that, by the way?
2025.
2025, 2030.
Yeah, so what is our strategy? Do we want to simply increase the number of trees because we know land is limited? Or do we want to increase by planting new trees
and of
with a higher productivity and higher quality? So what is our strategy there? And these are issues you want to bring in. Where the extension staff across to help the farmers know what to do. He talked about people drying their coffee anyhow. Now, you're not going to enter that cup and serve it to me, and you think I'll take it like the express I take at $10. Because the other than I have assurance of quality. So there are a number of things we need to pick up. I was looking at the numbers of 2020, when we said we got so much out of coffee. But by the way, in terms of value, 2017 was higher.
How many bags? How much money?
The bags were fewer, but we got more money. We got $555 million compared to the 515 in 2020. Yet 2020, we had 330 compared to 286. So you want to get into those value aspects and say, can we increase the value? Can we increase the productivity? Rather than running after, I don't know how many trees. Because Ugandans have limited land and they have to use it for many other things. It's not just a bite of coffee. So you want to get into those spaces. Secondly, we need to understand the market. I was also crunching the numbers of espresso. When you pay $5, what have you paid? The bulk of that is the cost of the cup, the cost of the labor, the fixed cost on where that guy rents the one who sells you espresso. The coffee component in that is about 30% of that value.
And the machine.
And the machine and all sorts of things. You know, now Biden is saying minimum wage should be $15. So the fellows serving you, every hour they should be paid $15. It must come from that cup. So it is easily possible for you to say the Europeans are cheating us because how many dollars are they making when I serve espresso? You need to understand their dynamics because you can easily be led astray and you end up stuck. So we are saying we need to do a lot of research and development, and some of the people have argued they may not exactly have raised the issue that ICO is going to give us this advantage, but they have said we need to invest in understanding the dynamics. You can easily roast your coffee and you get stuck with it because the other guys control the consumer. So that's why I was saying, why don't we have bilateral negotiations? I don't want to go into ICO because that won't give me the Italian conversation. You know, I can have at a bilateral level. I can walk into the Italian embassy here and we really crack the deal that I really need. I go to the Moroccan, I go to the Egyptians, they all have their embassies around. I crack my deal, which is the conversation she was talking. So for me, it is easier for us to realize our potential by really saying this is what Uganda has to offer. Because we know in trade, it is what you offer as value, that is the content or the ingredients or the attributes of the product, plus the negotiations. Now, you can't get the negotiations from ICO.
No way.
We can get these through by China. He has talked about what Lereto Pakabulo had gotten for us. If we had talked with the Chinese embassy and we go for these, whatever meetings we go for, and say, you China, why can't you take this? You would get a better deal. So I think we need to be more logical, pragmatic, rather than running around and then dashing out and where. ICO may not have given it to us, neither is the exit going to give us to us, unless we change our strategy.
Honorable Mapenduzi, there is the question that came on the issue of old trees versus new trees, value for money. We are putting in a lot, getting in less, or getting in little. That's a question which is broad. It's both accountability, it's the level of investment, it's also about the seriousness of, you know, monitoring what we are doing, where we are putting our money and all that. What should be the best approach to growing to the ambition that we have of 20 million bags by 2025?
Today we are...
You can answer that even from your perspective as a farmer, given also the difficulties farmers have.
I want to start from where we are as a country. Today, I think we're exporting about 6.5 million bags. The target is
2020 is 7,700,000 bags.
Perfect. The target is 20 million by 2025. Are we going to achieve that? I'm not going to say yes or no. But I think looking at that, and if we are serious about the targets we set, then we should change our speed. We should be a lot more interested in the things we do, including putting resources and using the resources correctly. You know, Charles, before my sister Sarah overwhelmed us and said, you know, give me my time. I was bringing a point that I consider very important, and the MD needs to take this a lot more seriously. Of course, we have a duty, because even if we push him to take it a lot more seriously, if we don't provide what he needs as parliament or as government, still we would be playing around. The old coffee trees, and you know, we are talking about that, but we have got virgin areas. There is no part of Uganda that cannot do well in coffee. Many years ago, we were made to believe that there are particular parts of the country that can do well, and other parts cannot. And right now, there is proof. You go to Zombo, they are doing exceptionally well.
They have always, actually, you know, the joke in Paida, which is in Zombo, is that Nandala's people buy most of their Arabica from Zombo, and then they take it to Bugisu.
I do not want to say that because I also had the same.
They call it Bugisu.
Yeah, that's true. And that's why we're telling the MD to be careful.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say is, so every part of the country, and Charles, in 2015, a gentleman from Omoro district, which was still part of Gulo, because Omoro became a district in 2016. So in 2015, a gentleman from Gulo called Mr. Oto, who lives in Koro, was actually ranked the best coffee farmer that year.
True.
Yes, and I'm sure you know about that.
Yes.
Now, the best coffee farmer from Gulo in 2015. I have been to, I visited what Inspire Africa is doing in Lututuru, in Lamour. Actually, Mr. MD, there is no better place on earth than Lututuru.
I hope you are aware we are working with the prison services, and we have...
Exactly. So, to me, it would be such a fantastic step for you to use a place like Lututuru, partner with the community of that area, support them. A stretch of about 20 square kilometers up to the border of Sudan, extremely fertile. And there is proof. I have seen the coffee trees that have been planted. I've been to Karamoja, where Inspire Africa is demonstrating around the Ik community.
Well, it's a different story with the Inspire Africa,
no.
But I want to confirm with you indeed.
Yes.
We are in Karenga, we are in
exactly.
Kabong, we are in Abim.
My point is, Mr. MD, is that now that we are talking about all coffee trees and we need to replace them, and yes, we need to start planting new trees, but we also need to start going to areas that we have never been to, and putting a lot more money. Because what if we had said, we are going to invest heavily in this part of the area, and in the next 5-6 years, we will hit that target.
Okay.
That is one. Two, Charles, the aspect of domestic coffee consumption is key. A country like Sudan, why are they consuming so much? They're buying from us. Our population is growing. Our people can equally start to consume a lot of coffee. But I had an interaction with a friend today, and he said, we are consuming, our consumption rate is just about 4 to 5%. I don't know whether it has gone
7 to 8% now.
Yeah, 7 to 8%. Just 7 to 8%. And we have the best quality.
Honorable Nandara gave us a reason why we don't consume.
No.
You see, by the whites?
Yeah, he gave us a reason, but we have a duty to turn around that story.
No, but what you are talking, my younger brother, is why is the government drinking Nescafe in the offices? They should have taken the deliberate effort. Nobody should have a Nescafe in the office.
That's right.
And public service
to promote local consumption.
Public service have fewer people. I can tell you, Charles, that we have a very vigorous program with the youth. We have coffee clubs in the universities and tertiary institutions. Uganda has the youngest population, and therefore we are targeting more of the youth to get in coffee from the health benefits, but also from the tail end of consumption. We know most of the youth don't have land, and if you say go to coffee, they will think of production. But those we have seen who start from being a barista, from trading, they actually go to production. So the more you appreciate the drinking of coffee, the health benefits, and the money you can make, you go to the production.
Okay. Yeah, so finally, what I was concluding with is the aspect of monitoring, just as you pointed out. Providing the resources we need, but also making sure that whatever we provide, however little it is, we follow to the dot. Okay. I have seen, and this is common with local governments, when government provides seedlings, and then you don't know what happens, and the seedlings are dry. And then you find thousands of seedlings given to farmers. We need to get a lot more serious.
Okay. Sarah,
just before the
I want to bring in Sarah.
And you know what that means if you object.
I'm going to have another. I want to have an extra talk with you, because we moved away from the giving seedlings and dumping. It has to be with an application, with the photos you've dug holes with evidence.
We shall
and that's why we are seeing the likes of.
But that's a policy model which
we are sending it down to the people.
But what about how are you managing policy
all those
model?
you have listed
you are not
will
there.
get their money.
Nads, you are not there. You are talking about the money you have.
Again,
again, my time.
That's a big problem.
Sarah's anyway, let me
Sarah's time.
Orange will invoke her lawyer practices and
Someone here actually is called Julius from Entebbe, said, behind the headlines, kindly give Sarah more time. She is articulating the real issues that will help us in improving incomes of coffee farmers. We need to hear more about value addition, not your academic points. The debate should be about improving quality standards, something that Uganda has even failed in maize. That is what Julius from Entebbe is saying. Sarah, please. You have a very big supporter here.
Yeah, thank you, Julius. I think really that's where, and I agree with him. Because if we say Ugandans, if you consider, especially household incomes, many of our fathers and forefathers lived on coffee.
Yes.
But can you now, how many farmers can now live on coffee as a single cash crop in a home? How many? You need to be at a large scale level. So what has changed from the time of our fathers and forefathers to today, that coffee alone cannot sustain a household unless you are at a commercial level? And how do we help our farmers to reach that level? Because if we are having a conversation about household incomes, which houses are we talking about? The abstract is clear that Dr. Moons is referring to. On the issue of household incomes, the contribution, the dependence on agriculture, what has worked before, what is proven, tried and tested. Coffee is one of those crops that is tried and tested in this country in terms of how improving household incomes, improving the general well-being of Ugandans, improving our export incomes and balancing our trade earnings, and generally helping in improving GDP. It is still the second. So why do we keep beating about the bush? And the Honorable was introducing, is it Makade? I need to realize. Because if you have, as a country, tried...
I'm likely to be mistaken.
No, comparative, where you have comparative advantage. We have a market. I was looking at generally, the market for Uganda's exports, formal exports, generally. Our destination is highest in the Middle East, 43.6%, and mainly the United Arab Emirates, followed by Africa, Europe, and Asia. General, not just coffee. So how do we, with the East African community, now where DRC is joining, with a huge population, with the common COMESA, with the Africa Free Trade Area, how do we harness these markets? Especially as you withdraw from these international agencies. What is our strategy? You have withdrawn, even if it's temporary, if it's become permanent. What is your strategy in helping the farmer, but also securing markets in Uganda, in East Africa, in the common, in COMESA and Africa in general? Then you can look at Asia, Europe, and the rest, and Middle East, that are our markets for export.
Okay.
As for the farmers, I conclude, Charles. I know Honorable Mapenduza has talked about a number of issues, but what capacity do we give to a farmer? Because I referred to the past, the previous years when coffee was earning more to a farmer, but there were strong agriculture extension services. And cooperatives. I know the parish model is trying to reintroduce that aspect. But cooperatives is lost now in two circles, which are more like a microfinance entities. So we need to look at this aspect as well. How do we control quality of coffee right from the farm, right from the time of planting? How do we promote issues of having a replanting program? How do we improve yields with existing old coffee trees, and how do we enhance generally good agricultural practices, including control of pests and diseases, as well as the agro inputs, where now there are those toxic products on the market. So what are we doing in terms of enhancing quality and enhancing production as a country?
Dr. Emmanuel, you need to write that. Quality assurance, what do we have to do? I need to read some 4 or 5 messages from the viewer. Good evening, Charles. This talk show is very educative and important. We need to continue having similar discussions. My submission is that coffee as a cash crop has contributed a lot to the development of our economy. It's important that government refocuses towards this sector by encouraging more production through poverty eradication programs. This is from Paul Wamono in Kampala. Then Niwagaba Peter says, why withdraw from ICO at this moment? So it is not beneficial? If it is not, it means we have been losing a lot for years. What practical strategies have been put in place to make Uganda's coffee stand to compete globally? Then from another person says, I really don't care about them, about UCDA leaving or staying. What I care about is UCDA doing its work locally. I'm 28 years old and I have a farm of coffee on 12 acres. But UCDA has never helped in any way. So them leaving or staying has no significant meaning or help to a local person or a farmer. I feel UCDA has concentrated more on what is in Kampala and forgotten where the coffee comes from, in bracket, the village, the local person.
Can I get the contact?
I will need to rip this off for you so that you can have it. The person's number Let me write it. This person's number is 0700629950. Unfortunately, the person has not put his name, but that is his number. And then another person says, good evening, I am Felix Lev from Arua. I like the talk show. I have had one of the participants saying that it's good that Uganda has pulled out from ICO. I would like to know from you, how much has coffee production been contributing to Uganda's economy and how Uganda will cover up this gap? It has been said that this is an association, not a marketing association. They have not been helping. They are not a regulatory body either. So it is not affecting the revenue. But otherwise, last year, Uganda got 2.58 trillion shillings from coffee alone. 2020, Uganda got a revenue incoming of 1.87 trillion shillings. That is the contribution to the economy. So if you want to know, you can work out that calculation. Last year we had 45 trillion national envelope, by the cost of the national envelope. So work out that against 2.58 trillion in terms of the percentage. Doctor, someone is accusing you, someone I think called, someone without a name says, our biggest problem in Uganda is poor management at UCDA. This person's number we can also share, but he doesn't have his name. Then let me get two more.
Can I get the number?
I'll get you that number, but this one, there's another person who says, where is the sanctuary for the gold, which is the leading export for this country? From which region of the country? Maybe we can also increase its exportation. And then I think there are so many messages, and someone called Ojalo says, thanks Charles for the program. I'm Bernard, not Ojalo, Ojelo from Mayuge, a coffee processor. UCDA is meant to go deep in villages to educate farmers on the importance of coffee instead of sticking on factories. That is someone called Bernard Ojelo from Mayuge. And then someone says, hello Charles, I'm Masereka Johnson from Kasese. Thanks for the discussion and on coffee, because it is our cash crop to date. As put by Honorable Nandala, coffee can attract a very good market if branded and marketed as Uganda organic coffee. When I went to study in Spain in 2002, I carried 3 packets of Elgon coffee. But when students from other countries, including Latin America, tasted it, they grabbed all the 3 packets and they were surprised that Uganda does not export such good coffee. Last year, 2022, I visited a farmer trying out macadamia in Kabarole district. The nuts are so sweet, but very expensive. Thanks for this program. There you are, Honorable Ojara. There is someone taking macadamia that Sarah and Honorable Manandala don't know. There are so many messages. Thanks to all of you. I just want to, I'm going to, Sarah, Sarah, I'm giving all of you. No, I want to give you the last chance so that you take even some of the questions they will bring. But we are winding up. I'll give you 2 minutes. Let me just give them half a minute each so that you take the more in order to respond to these issues raised. But don't forget the issue of quality, the issue of going out to the rural people, the issue of helping the coffee farmers, and the question that you forgot, what is Germany doing that wonderfully that Uganda is not doing to earn $3.5 billion That is crazy amount of money, which would be almost 40% of our budget if we could get to that level. Sarah, last word.
Well, the sizable number of coffee produced by Uganda is by smallhold farmers. But if you look at the services extended to them, I think at times they are part of the neglected agricultural practitioners in this country. So we need to increase the extension services to household or smallhold farmers, but also we need to focus on value addition as a country. Honorable Nandala was asking on why people purchase Nescafe. Is it called Nescafe?
Nescafe.
Yes, I'm not a big consumer of coffee, having diverted to green tea, but I'm going to try Elgon Pride.
Actually, we are also going to ask that Honorable Nandala should start writing on Elgon stroke Zombo Pride.
Yes.
Yours and processed.
Yes. But I want to compare the packaging, even of Star Coffee and the rest. Because people like coffee so much. So if you open it, the aroma and then it dries up. So if you look at the packaging, I think it's more convenient to look at Star Coffee, Nescafe. You open briefly, pick the little you're consuming and cover. But if you open some of the package, then covering, and then the aeration, air entering, I think that also limits the market. And then branding, advertising, and the myths around coffee, especially with women. Say a woman cannot take coffee. And yet we are 51% of the population. So who is going to buy coffee? So I think
that's myth.
That myth must go away.
Don't comment on that myth.
No, I'm not going to, but there is a need for marketing. So
but that's where he began. He said there are certain myths and
no, that person should not be proceeded.
Yes, so we need to market, but also help. Extension services, educate the people, quality control, value addition, marketing and distribution of coffee.
Thank you so much. Honorable.
From where she stopped.
Very quickly, 1 minute.
People,
we are behind time already.
People like you, Sarah, who are very informed but also very honest, need to join the struggle, and especially helping Doctor, because I'm very sure many of our mothers and sisters who listen and watch believe what you say. So some of these myths we talk about, they're indeed diversionary strategies to make us believe that it's So we need now to start telling a different story. That look, this is where we can have a much better country. So let's also consume it. It's not harmful. It's propaganda. Okay. Then the other thing I'll not forget to say is we obviously know how we can turn around and achieve what we aspire. I think what is important is how much energy we are going to put, but also how we are going to work with the rest of the stakeholders. How do we put a lot more effort in supporting the private sector? How do we put a lot more effort in supporting the likes of Honorable Nandala Mafabi? The fact that they have reached this far, yes. This is a great achievement.
Okay.
And so if we can have the people in Zombo and other parts also reaching this far, then we will be able to do much more. And finally, Doctor,
but we can also do partnerships.
Yes, exactly. And
Honorable Nandala, if you can do this for Elgon, why don't you do it for Zombo, do it for Karamoja? And just help them package it.
Yeah. So
and you can package, and then you say Zombo coffee packaged by Nandala something.
Yeah. So finally, Doctor, I want to. Yes, there are challenges.
It's branding.
And this
win-win.
And some of these challenges are older than you in that office. So I want to appreciate the efforts you are making. And for me as a member of the Agriculture Committee, we have a duty to really pay a lot of attention to what can make the country move further. And that's where we need to deliberately
invest.
If it means closing our eyes, we know there is already proof that we can achieve something. So Parliament needs to support this strategy so the country can begin to get much more than we need.
Thank you. Dr. Muhumuza.
I think I would be doing a disservice to our viewers if I do not put on my academic hat at the end on research and development to really understand what are the issues behind the trend. As we're saying, behind the headlines. What exactly are the issues? We sold so much last year, but does that mean we have turned around the corner? When you look at some of the reasons why we sold that much, it was just one of what we call an outlier, partly associated with COVID. COVID disrupted the global value chains to the extent that shipping a container of coffee increased from $3,300 to $10,000. Now, our main consumer, Italy, looked for nearer alternatives. So for the first time, Uganda edged out India as being the major supplier to Italy.
And Vietnam.
And Vietnam. But because to get coffee from Vietnam and India, which are far away, was going to be very costly.
Mohammed, I correct you. Actually, it was because of the quality of Ugandan coffee.
No, it was the quality is one thing.
It's quality.
The quality was one thing. We have better, our quality is next to Ethiopia, but Ethiopia consumes more. But you can see that COVID, besides the quality, added on something. Now, if it is quality and we maintain that, then you'd say you have turned the corner around. But what if that cost of COVID in terms of logistical value chains goes out? Do you want to edge and consolidate your quality? That's why I say it's important to know, was this a chance event or is it something that we can really consolidate? So understanding more research and development at the market level, market penetration, market entry, so that you can consolidate. But also secondly, we need to invest in the coffee seedling production, not just multiplying seedlings. What is happening at the research level? Where are our researchers? And I had the privilege of living in the same house when I was a small boy with the late Chibirige Sebunya, who was really at the clonal coffee research. Where are those fellows? What is happening in that space? That's why I was saying I would benefit more rather than ICO by going to Italians and the Germans and say, why don't you fund our research program? We need some labs, we need some people trained, we need some, all these kinds of things. So bilateral negotiations for me are going to be more beneficial, and we need to be looking into those direction, that kind of direction. So,
thank you, Honorable Nandala.
I want to make a correction to my brother, Dr. Muhumuza, that Arabic coffee of Uganda and Robusta are the best. Ethiopia is second because I have over 10,000 species. You agree? There was a recent, even last, about 3 days I've done, what they say, farm to cup in America. Our coffee was leading.
Your source would be of interest to me, because my source was also correct.
Yeah, I'm telling you that. They have done it, what you say, farm to cup.
Where did the Corona coffee go?
It died quickly because it couldn't sustain the environment. Two, where I want to also to make it clear here that we have had a lot of seedlings. The only problem, again, this government of ours, having a lot of organizations, NADS, Operation Wealth, PMA, also dealing in the coffee. Then, at the same time, UCDA is doing.
And now PDM.
Yeah, and now Parish, I don't know what to go and do. Now,
rationalization of government.
If we had decentralized these coffee seedlings, we would know very well. Because now, I'll give you an example. There was a school which was built in one place in Teso, but it was built by 5 people. Government, Irish, so many. Whenever they would come, they would say, government is coming, you put a signpost of government. Irish, you put a sign. So the NADS coffee is not different from the one of UCD. So people have been doing it. So we need to do a thorough audit and confirm if we did it rightly. Number 3, as my brother Charles is saying, we should. For me, I'm totally. I want farmers to get money. I'll never trade in coffee. I've ever done it during the 1991 to 1996. I'll never trade in coffee. That's why you see me, all my energy is in coffee from a farmer so that he can earn more money. The reason you are seeing our prices going high in the region in Bugisu, and that's why Yazomba could maybe crossing there, is because we have tried our level best, we are trying to edge middlemen ourselves. And if government came in to assist us, I can tell you the farmer would get more money. Now, even the branding, everybody will brand his own coffee if he gets good money. Now, Nescafe is the reason people put sugar and milk in Nescafe. I want you, Sarah, to go and try my coffee of Bugisu. I'll tell you, you don't need sugar in it. They put there because it's bitter. Why is it bitter? These are husks. These are poor quality coffee. But our coffee, which is good quality, when you're drinking it, it is just smooth. Now, our package, you're right. Now, what I want to advise those who buy our coffee here, Elgon Pride, because we have not reached making those good packages, there are those tins where you have used maybe Omo and clean them up, put them in after using, so that for us we are going advancing, so that you leave your aroma. But this is going to the best coffee.
You told you said need to market our coffee?
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable.
I've drunk a coffee since my childhood. I don't put sugar. And why people say I'm young, it's because of coffee. I have never, in fact, when you drink coffee, you have no issues of malaria, headache, heart, nothing. And I'm happy Dr. of UCD has said it's medicinal. Seriously, coffee is medicinal. And for this myth which are saying like women having a problem, they don't want our women to take our coffee. If they took it, they will be even more better. This American, this was also said for the best. So I want to say that the coffee is the best and whatever. Finally, I want us to support. You see, change is like taking a whole day. Our problem in our people, they don't want change. And when people don't want change, that's where the problem. You see people getting stuck. Oh, we don't want to do things like that. What we did in 1900 is what we want to do now. Technology has come. You have said marketing is in a different platforms. This issue of living ISO is a change, which let us look at it positively and see what are the outcomes. And because it is a change we are doing, I'm sure there is a method we must come and come in ourselves to sit on ourselves so that we position ourselves and win. I promise you, Uganda coffee is the best, and we want the political leadership of this country to take lead in marketing like the Rwanda government has done it.
Thank you very much. Finally, Doctor, in 2 minutes, I
yes,
just
I
want
want
to
to first
answer all those questions.
as I am in UCD, I also belong to the Ministry of Agriculture. The issue of macadamia and Hasapakedo with no bad intentions, I want to correct. Government, Ministry of Agriculture has a value chain strategy, and in that they have brought in these commodities, but they are targeting moderate farmers. They are not for everybody. I thought I should do that before I go to the issue at hand. UCDA, our focus, and this is where our strength is quality. We are now, we want to decentralize even quality assurance. We have got now land in Kasese. We want to see how we can unlock that potential of Rwenzori coffee. I'm talking to my elder, and Mafabi. We want to do coffee in quality in Mbare, to have the origin of coffee traded as an origin, not mixed with Paida coffee. We are moving also, of course, Central Region, expanding our laboratory. So what we can promise, our mandate with the new law is really to have the best of the quality we can provide. But also extension services, Mr. Bernard Ojero from Mayuge, going down to the villages. Yes, we are not in every sub-county, but I'm taking your number. I will give you the phone number. In every district, we are in 126 out of 146 districts in Uganda. In every district, we have somebody responsible. We are not able to go down, but one of our strategies is really looking at what we are calling the parish coffee development advisors. You can call them different names, but village level, those are the ones who, even the new law, farmer registration, they are the ones we are going to be working with. Moving forward so that we can really get very close to the farmers. So extension services, we have a strength there, but we are working also in collaboration. The turnaround of all of these things is coffee research. Part of the money from the export level we get, 10% of that money goes to strengthen research. Now, when we are talking of the big beans of the screen 18, we are talking of the coffee wilt resistant chrono cuttings. This is the product of research. Investing in research will turn around all the aspects we have. Lastly, we are now in the agro-industrialization agenda, this NDP3, and our focus is really looking at value addition, roasting, packaging, and also finally having we have now come up with the expression of interest of the soluble coffee plant. If we can achieve this one, the bad coffees Nandara is talking about will actually be, we'll be cleaning up. We have the best coffees and export the value addition. Why is Germany better than us? They have invested in all this. Structurally, they have positioned themselves. They have the good cheap financing. They buy the coffees from all the countries, take advantage of the good coffees from Uganda, blend with the Brazil. Together, they start now roasting, export to the Far East countries, Belarus, Russia, and so from they do re-export of the coffee that has come from here. They do value addition from there, export roasted coffee. They do all different kind of situation because they have structurally invested in that economy. And therefore, this is where government really need to move in. And I'm sure with the coffee roadmap, we can achieve more, but we need support from the parliament. We need support from the civil society organization. It's not a UCDA job. Farmers are the kings. We need to see how we can move them to another level.
Thank you very much.
Charles,
Thank
our
you.
coffee is being used for branding.
Yeah.
It is getting the poor quality. We brand it with our coffee.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nandala Mafabi, and thank you so much for Elgon Pride and packaging it. Medium roasted ground coffee, 250 grams. It looks beautiful, and
I did not ask
thanks very much for this gift.
It also tastes nice.
Thank you very much, Dr. Emmanuel Yamulemia, MD Uganda Coffee Development Authority. Thank you very much, Dr. Muhumu Zafred, for always linking us with the aspect of economics. He's a development policy analyst and a lecturer at Makerere University. I want to thank very much my colleagues here on the show, Honorable Jara Mapenduzi and Council Sarah Birete, for a good discussion and sharing your thoughts and your knowledge with the viewers, with the audience out there. And the audience, I want to really appreciate your time and to say that we really value you and encourage you to always stay with us every Wednesday from 10 p.m. when we have these discussions on policy, on current affairs, on everything, the economy and everything that is going on around us, from the entire team here, from the technical team, the producers, all of us here. We wish you all the best. And for the Christians who have today started the Lenten season, have a peaceful one and enjoy the next 40 days until Easter. Bye-bye. God bless you all. We wish you the best.
Join us from Monday to Friday for Good Morning Uganda with me, Felix Mukoni, Robert Chirabo,
Molen Kenyana,
Ruben Mpimba, with all the morning's essentials,
including the very latest in news, traffic,
weather and sports. Hope you'll be setting your alarms, cause we are looking forward to seeing you then.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
war was coming. And of course, he was called everything from a Saddam lover to a terrorist lover. It's a different world now. It's much worse than that. My good friend Colonel Douglas McGregor was on Fox News and simply gave a dispassionate assessment of the battlefield situation in Ukraine, which in fact is accurate and will be accurate, and Russia will win the military conflict. But simply pointing out the battlefield situation, this is a person who writes books on military strategy. Fox News felt it necessary to have a correspondent come on after him and say, I just have to correct that previous speaker. This is a person that's that's not fit to do such a thing. So the propaganda level is amazing, but this is a perfect storm in America. That's why the propaganda is insane, because the Russiagators, who their main religion is that Russia has made Trump president, Russia controls everything, even the day and night, they feel vindicated now. See, we told you the whole thing is real. Our Lord is coming. But then you have the right-wingers